Hey everyone. I kept getting a lot of questions about how I shape and fill in my eyebrows, and so I figured it's one of those things that's easier shown than explained, like over Facebook or something like that. Um, Before I begin, I just like to say that everybody's eyebrows are different. Their face shape is different. Everybody has like a natural shape that you're kind of like either born with or you stick with or something like that. Finding your natural shape that accentuates your face shape, I guess you could say, is usually best. So if you like over plucked your eyebrows or something like that, and you want a different shape, the best thing to do is to go ahead and just grow them out. Um, I know it can be kind of troublesome because you still got to go in public and you don't want to look all crazy, but it is one of the best things to do is just go ahead and grow them out, figure out what your natural shape is, and figure out what works best for you. Secondly, finding the right color for your eyebrows, like your powders and your creams and whatever you're going to use on them, finding the right color is one of the most important things. Because if you get a color that's too red toned or too gray toned, it can come off looking very unnatural. So you kind of want to stick with something either a few shades darker than your natural hair color or a few shades lighter. I prefer to go a little bit darker because it just tends to look a little more natural, because if your natural hairs are darker than the color you're using, it's going to be pretty noticeable. So anyways, it is the end of the day. I have all of the makeup on from the day. It's kind of smudged out, but I figured I'd go ahead and get this up for you guys. I am still using my laptop, and my setup isn't all that great. And if you know a little bit about my life, me, my husband, and my kids travel in a travel trailer for my husband's jobs and stuff like that. So we are currently back in our travel trailer. I don't have a lot of space, so I have to kind of pick the timing just right when everybody's asleep and whatever. So my lighting isn't that great. I need to get a new camera, blah, blah, blah. We are working on that, and I'm hoping to put up a video at least once a week. That's what I'm going to start shooting for. Start giving you guys some more makeup tutorials and tips and things that I use that I found that worked and what don't work. Any kind of requests you guys have, you can leave it in the comments below. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to grab my makeup wipes over here, and I'm going to wipe off this eyebrow. It's going to look a little funny. But, and then I'll just, well, let me quickly just show you the products that I'm going to be using real fast. This is the e.l.f. eyebrow kit. Get it in the frame here. As you can see, one side is a wax and one side is a powder. I won't be using the powder for this tutorial, but it does come in handy on some days. I will just be using the wax. Also from Milani, there is the Brow Fix Kit. This one I believe is in light, and the other one is in light as well. Yes, light. I'll just be using this powder right here, which is the darkest shade, and it's Milani Brow Fix Kit. You can see that. I'll list everything down below until I can get a new camera, and then we'll zoom in and do all that fancy stuff for you guys. So anyways, also I'm going to be using a double-ended brush. This is just a flat angled brush. You can find, I found this one at Walgreens, and then the other side has a spoolie, or looks like a mascara wand to be combing through and everything like that. Other things that I just kind of have right here and things that I would normally do beforehand, um, tweezers. So before you do your eyebrows, if you have any stray hairs, go ahead and pluck them or whatever, unless you're growing them out, which I highly recommend. Grow them out, find a good shape that works for your face shape, and really, yeah, looks good on you and natural and something you can work with. Also is a good pair of eyebrow, I guess, scissors, so you can like trim the little hairs up in the front, keep them nice and groomed. Here's another product, which was a clear brow gel, but I scraped some of the powder from the Milani kit into it, so it had a little bit of color when you lay it down on your eyebrows. Get back in there. All the products I'll list below in the comment section or in the description box, and I'll put the price and where I got them from and everything like that. If I can find some links, I'll go ahead and do that. Anyways, let's get right into it. Let me get my little baby wipes here and get this wiped off and get started. I'm going to be using the e.l.f. eyebrow kit as my mirror here so you guys can still see and I can see what I'm doing. Probably taking off some of my foundation here as well. Alright, that should be good. So as you can see, I do have a little bit of a structured eyebrow, but it is kind of sparse in some areas, and to get it even with this one, because my eyebrows aren't the same and that's why I fill them in, but I try to stick with my natural shape to keep it looking as natural as possible, and we'll get into more of that here in just a second. But yeah, so I just try to get them as close as possible, and if y'all want to see how I like shape and tweeze and keep up with all of that, I was going to put that in a separate video because then this video would be entirely way too long. So anyways, let's just get into it. So first off, I'm going to go into the Milani kit here and go into this darker shade. And just pick some of that up on my angled brush, comb out these hairs right here just to lay them in place, and then I'm going to take my powder. See if I can get in frame here. And I'm just going to start right here before this inner part because my brow goes all the way over here. So I'm going to start right here at the very bottom, and I'm just going to trace out this lower part, the very bottom line of my eyebrows. Picking up more product. We're just going to bring it all the way to the tail back here. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit more powder. Then I'm going to start doing the top half. I'm just tracing where my hairs naturally lay and the shape. So right now we're just carving out the shape and playing connect the dots. Now I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the body of the eyebrow just to really get any of those sparse areas nice and darkened so it looks nice and clean. I'm just going to keep doing that until I'm pretty much satisfied with the results. Hopefully you guys can see that. So just trace your natural shape, however they lay. Also, you can get stencils from like Walmart or Walgreens or anywhere they have like a eyebrow kit. Most of the time they'll have stencils and stuff. That way you can, if you're not quite familiar with shapes of eyebrows, then you can kind of like get a feel for, if you lay it over yours, then you can kind of see where your natural hairs go and where you would be able to fill them in and what kind of shape you could acquire from it, you know, to just stick with the natural hairs. So I'm just going to keep filling in and filling in, trying to get it to look as much like this side as possible. Sorry, my computer just fell asleep on me. Really? Cooperate, computer. Cooperate. So I'm just really trying to deepen up this outer tail because right here I have a lot of sparse hairs, but it needs to like connect, it can't just like drop straight off. And you want a squared front and a nice sharp tail. So we're just trying to get that as close to my natural hairs as possible. Okay, so for this next step, you want just a little bit of product on your brush. If you feel like you've taken too much, you can just like dab it on the back of your hand and knock some of it off. And we're going to go right here into the front of the brow, and we're not going to start like just going to town on the front of it. We're just going to go right underneath here and carve out a nice line to where it gives it that nice like tapered straight into the brow backwards that way. And then I'm just going to start feathering it in, like up with the regular hairs. Because if this part's like too dark, it's going to look really cartoonish and just really unnatural and not very flattering at all. So I usually don't do like the inner part as dark as I would say like the tail or something. So for the body of the eyebrow. So I'm just going to start feathering up from that line and just pushing the brush into my skin and going in the direction of the hairs. We don't want it to look too carved out in the front, because then it's just not going to look like a natural brow. If you have like a thicker part where your brows are and you don't need as much product, don't put as much product as you would like in a sparse area, because then it's just really going to come out looking cartoonish and unnatural and just, like I said before, very unflattering. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and go into the e.l.f. eyebrow kit, and I'm going to go straight into this wax here and just pick quite a bit of that up on my brush. And then we're going to start using that to lay the hairs down and really like give it some body and structure. It'll start to really mimic hair. And it also helps with your hairs, just laying them down and giving your actual hairs a bit more color, and it just blends it all together really nicely. So once again, we're not going to go into the front part of that brow, and we're really going to focus this wax on the tail and in the body. Anytime that you go outside of your natural eyebrow hairs, it's going to be noticeable, like on the skin, because of course your hairs add extra contrast, and when you don't have that contrast, the color on your skin is really noticeable. So that's why it's really important to try to get a more natural shape to your brows. And the wax really helps for those sparse areas in the body of the eyebrow. See how it just filled that in right there? I was having problems getting it in with the powder. But if we tried to put the powder over the top of this, it would just stick to the hairs and it wouldn't be able to get down into it because the wax is kind of sticky. So now that there's like a little bit of product left on the brush, we're just going to use the leftovers of that, and we're going to do the same technique. We're just going to go right underneath the brow and give that real sharp edge, and then once again we're just going to start pulling it up and using what's left over. And also you can flip the brush long ways and pull like this, and it'll start to mimic more of an eyebrow hair. I like to go in the direction the hair naturally lays, just because like if I have a line going this way, then it's going to look really, really noticeable. But if I pull it up along with the hairs, that's the way the streaks will go. Okay, so we have that eyebrow done. Looks pretty close. And usually right here in the front, just because I feel like sometimes filling them in, you have to kind of hit a bunch of spots, and it can start to look a little bit too thick, so I just take the spoolie and just kind of run it up, and it kind of, see how it kind of feathered it out? Made it not as streaky, but you still get that nice, crisp, clean line up underneath. So there you have it. That is my brow routine, I guess you could call it, how I've started doing my eyebrows over the years. I used to pluck the crap out of them, and they were so thin and sparse, and there was like no structure to them. They just weren't pretty. And you know, I finally just started growing them out, and I realized how much more flattering it was for my face shape, and it worked really well for me. So I've always kind of stuck with that, and just started just perfecting my technique on how I fill them in, and how to use the colors properly, and where to place them and stuff like that. And um, if you have like really stubborn brows that like want to fly all over the place, you know, and the wax doesn't quite do it for you, then you could go ahead and go in with the brow gel at this time and just place it like right on top of there, and like lay the brows down. And then just let it dry for a few, like maybe 30 seconds, and you should be good. So I got a couple notes here so that way I didn't forget anything, because it's kind of nerve-wracking to say in front of a camera and talking to one, but I guess some people say you get used to it. So a couple tips for when you're growing out your eyebrows, how to keep them not as noticeable, like say you're growing them out and stuff. If you get like a little brush, and which these are my tweezers, but you get a little brush and you put some concealer like on the back of your hand, you can pick it up with just like a little flat, like even like eyeshadow brush or something like that, or even use your finger, and you can just go right over the like new growth of your hairs and like cover them up. And of course there's still might be noticeable, but they won't be as noticeable as if like say they're really dark and stuff like that. Now if you know like your arch isn't going to come like way down here, then go ahead and get those straight hairs that leave you some room like up in here, right in there, to grow some hairs, so that way when you do go to shape them, like say you want more of an arch and your eyebrows can do that, then you can cut into it and then you can come back down. But for mine, I have to round them off and then come down to a point. So this is just what works best for me. And a couple of other things too is that if you're not quite like sure of how you want your eyebrows, I don't recommend waxing, just because every single time I went and had my eyebrows waxed, like they just took so much off, and it was just crazy. Like there was no reason for that. You know, like after I was done, they basically had no shape at all. So I would suggest getting them threaded, or go and have somebody like do them, or you can even get like a powder like what I just had after you start growing them out just a little bit, like where you know that you could use the extra hairs to shape, and just get a powder and start filling them in how you would like for them to look, and then go in and you can clean up the hairs up underneath that you know that you're not going to use later on, and then while you're growing them out you can still be filling them in, so that way you kind of know what shape you're going for, and then just keep cleaning them up like week by week as you see like new hairs growing in like where you don't want them. So if when I do my eyebrows, I'll usually do a line up underneath here, and make sure it's even with this side, and then I'll go in and like pluck the hairs, or most of the time like sometimes I'll just fill them completely in and make sure that they're even, and then I'll go through and just pluck the random hairs that are like around. But next time I go to pluck my eyebrows, if y'all are interested, then just let me know, and I'll like do how I shape my brows, like how I pluck them and maintain them and stuff like that, so y'all can kind of see what I'm talking about, like as I'm filling them in, and where I like plan on picking out the brow hairs and whatever. So anyways, gone through everything here. Oh yeah, if you wanted to really give them some definition up underneath the brow, to really make that bottom line like stand out. I already kind of have a cream product up underneath there for my makeup today, but I'll go ahead and show y'all a couple of things. There's a highlight color in here, which works really well for going up underneath the brow and like defining it. So I'm going to pick some of that up on the very tip here, and you can start placing it right there up underneath the brow. And it'll mostly give it like a little bit of a lift, and really clean up that bottom edge. And you can also clean up the bottom edge, like if you feel like you've made a mistake or something, you can just go in with concealer on a brush and like just carve them out for really, really defined ones like you'd see on Pinterest or Instagram or something like that. That's how they do that, is they just go in with a, oh, I'm messing with this thing. Um, they just go in with a concealer and they clean up the edges and really make them carved out and perfected and stuff like that. But this is how I would wear them every single day. Even when I go to the gym, I do my eyebrows, because if anything will make your face look like more put together is your eyebrows. Like if you're doing a really, really like intense liner or smoky eye or something like that, and your eyebrows are like off shaped and just kind of patchy and stuff like that, it can really mess up the entire eye look. But when you have a nice clean cut and carved out eyebrow, like it just really pulls the whole entire look together, and like your whole face shape just kind of molds together and becomes one. So if anything, I think eyebrows are probably the most important thing on your face and your skin. But still, your eyebrows really can like take on its own thing on your face. Like if you have crazy looking eyebrows, it could destroy like the whole entire shape of your eye. But if you have really nice carved out shapely eyebrows, then it can really make accentuate like your eyes like shape and natural features and stuff like that. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any comments or questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave it down below. I know this isn't the best quality of video. I wish I could have given y'all better, but I kept saying I was going to do it and I was going to do it, and I just felt bad because I really wanted it to be like in good quality and stuff. But hopefully soon I'll do an updated one, maybe some new products that I'm trying out that I found that worked or something like that. If y'all have any like not recommendations, requests as far as like things that y'all would want to see me do, like certain eye looks or certain like foundation, like how I do my foundation, or I don't know, certain lip colors that I have, or a makeup collection, or something like that. Anything y'all are interested in, just let me know. I will get to it as soon as possible. I have worked on a couple like things like where I'm going to be sitting and where I'm going to be filming at, and my setup and everything like that. So I'm getting there. I'm hoping to do one a week. So if y'all have any requests, please, please, please leave them down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up so that way I know that I'm doing a good job and y'all enjoy this kind of thing. Like I said before in the beginning of the video, it's much easier for me to explain things on camera than it is like in person or on a phone call, so you can actually see it in action, and then you could be like, wow, okay, that's not as hard as I thought it was. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, so that way next time I post a video, you'll see it in your YouTube feed. Plus, it would be great, for me. I love whenever we get new subscribers on this channel. So go ahead and click subscribe. It's free if you didn't know. Also hit like. Let me know that you like the video, and so I'll keep doing them. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.